Italian wedding risotto. Will you marry me? Raise your hand if you love Italian wedding soup. I don't know why we're going through this exercise, because of course you do. It is cozy, it is comforting, it is classic, but what if I told you you can capture all of those incredible flavors in a risotto? That is right, stick around, because we are making Italian wedding risotto. This Italian wedding risotto is hearty and it is filled with spinach, arborio rice, and we are topping it with garlicky, crispy pork meatballs. It is gonna rock your world, I promise. Italian wedding soup comes from the Italian phrase minestra maritata. It essentially translates to marriage soup, and that references the marriage of the green vegetables, in this case we're using spinach, with the meat. Speaking of meat, let's get started with the meatballs. So we need about a 1/4 cup of parsley for the meatballs, and then we're gonna save some to top our risotto with at the end. So just go ahead and pick off some parsley leaves. Just run our knife through the herb. Make sure we just get a nice even chop. 1/4 cup, we're gonna pile it over here. We want some garlic. So we are gonna mince 4 garlic cloves, but we're only using 2 teaspoons for the actual meatballs, and we're gonna save some for our actual risotto. Let's give our garlic a mash, and we're just gonna mince it. Oh. We're gonna need 1 large egg that we're gonna lightly beat. Boop. Beautimous. All right, let's form these meatballs. So we've got 1 pound of ground pork. We're gonna go in with that 1/4 cup of parsley, 1/2 cup of panko, 1/3 packed cup of freshly grated cheese. Get in there. We wanna go in with that egg, and 2 teaspoons of our minced garlic. And of course, we need to make sure this is well seasoned, so we're gonna add some salt. 1, 2, and some freshly ground black pepper. A lot of it. I'm talking a whole teaspoon. Okay, clean hands. Let's mix this all together really well. All right, this looks good. One of my tricks for portioning out these meatballs is a cookie scoop with a release. So let's just go in. Boop. 19. We're doing 20 meatballs because we're serving 4 people and each person's gonna get about 5. Okay, so we wanna shape these into nice little round meatballs, which if you just dampen your hands, it just makes it a little bit easier because it prevents the meat from sticking to your palms. Now it's speed racer time. 3 more. Tahoo! Great. Look at these. Beautiful. These are going under the broiler for about 6 to 9 minutes. We want them to be cooked through and nicely browned. Hey, under the broiler. While our meatballs are broiling, we're gonna get started with the actual risotto. Finely chopped 1 medium onion. All right, we've got our onion and we need 1 medium celery rib, and we're just gonna finely chop it just like we did the onion. So I like to cut it in half just so that the pieces are a little bit more manageable. And then I cut them lengthwise, cut it just like you did the onion. Let's go ahead and get some olive oil into our pan. And in addition to the olive oil, we wanna add a couple tablespoons of unsalted butter. Get that in there. All right, and we're gonna go in with our aromatics. So we've got that onion, a little bit of celery, and then the rest of that garlic. So we're gonna cook this just a few minutes. We want to soften all of the vegetables and we want our onions to be translucent. 30 seconds, ooh, the anticipation. So this is looking really good. So now we wanna add our rice because you absolutely cannot have risotto without rice, obviously. So this is 1.5 cups of arborio rice right in. And before we add any liquid, we want to toast the rice and cook it until it's just translucent on the edges. We're gonna let this keep cooking, but let's go check those meatballs. Ooh, okay, meatballs. They're browned, they're cooked all the way through. We're gonna let these hang out until we serve the risotto. So the first liquid we're adding here is we're adding white wine, 3/4 of a cup. We are gonna add this and cook it until it's evaporated. Ooh. And you could tell the wine is cooked off when you run your spoon or spatula through the pan and there isn't any liquid on the bottom. Okay, now comes the laborious part. So in this pot here, we have a combination of chicken broth and water, and we're gonna add about a cup. And as you're cooking this and you're slowly stirring, as that broth and water combo gets absorbed into the rice, you're gonna take a little bit more and you're gonna continue this process, stirring gently until our rice is al dente and the entire risotto is nice and creamy. All right, check out this risotto. It's been cooking for about 20 minutes. I've been gradually stirring it, which gives it this really beautiful texture. You wanna make sure you do not overcook your rice. It should be al dente, meaning it should have just a little bit of a bite. And you actually wanna cut the heat at this point when it still looks a little wet. And that's because it's gonna continue to absorb some of that moisture as we finish it. To this, we wanna add the rest of that Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. This is about 1/3 of a cup that remains. A couple more tablespoons of unsalted butter. Ooh, look at this. Looks so delicious, but we're not quite done yet because what did I say about the marriage that happens in this recipe? Right? We're marrying our meat and we're marrying our veg. In this case, we're gonna add some green spinach here. And this is about 3 cups of baby spinach. This looks so good. Keep eating this, but before I do, Italian wedding risotto, will you marry me? You're gonna love this.